Hello, everybody. Welcome to Motivational Monday. My name's Thomas, and today we are going to be talking about being introvert. And what I kind of want to have the broad topic about is, what it feels to kind of be introverted, and also things that you could do to maybe help you in, realizing that you are an introvert and trying to see if there's ways that you could possibly not necessarily fix, because I'm not saying that if you are introverted you need fixing. I'm just saying that there's things that you could do to kind of cope with those feelings and the way that things are going around you. So personally, how I like to characterize myself, and maybe you feel the same way, is I kind of feel like I'm in the classification of a extroverted introvert. And what I mean by that is that I actually love to do things, but I only love to do things when I'm actually doing them. I'm always really in my head when things happen or I'm about to do something. If I try to make plans with a friend, at first I'm like, I don't really want to do this because I don't want to go out and do things with people, because the thing is, I love people, but then again, I also think that I make things very awkward. I'm a very awkward person. I don't think that I'm the best socially. I think I struggle with that a whole lot. And I think that a lot of times, especially growing up, I would always put my foot in my mouth. And what I mean by that is that I would always try to, make jokes, but then it ends up just being socially awkward, or I say something that I shouldn't have, or, I'm kind of jealous of the way that people treat other people, and I'm like, oh, maybe if I try to act like them, I would be able to, become as cool as them. And I'm talking about in a high school mindset or a middle school mindset at this point, and that's kind of like an identity crisis at points, because you need to just be who you are and not try to become somebody else, because honestly, you need to be the best you that you could possibly be. And like I said, what I mean by me being a extroverted introvert, I love doing things with people. I love being able to go out, but it's only when I'm actually doing it or when I'm looking back on what was going on. Because, like I said, sometimes my friends want to hang out or we have a group get together, and the whole time beforehand, I'm like nervous. And sometimes even going out to, go on vacation or whatever, I overthink and start feeling sick because I'm nervous about doing things, because I'm always in my head. I'm always like, what am I going to mess up this time? Or what am I going to do that's going to create some heartache or some pain or whatever? And it's not always that way, but I'm like, what could happen if I do this? Or what could happen if I do that? But while I'm actually experiencing it, I'm enjoying it. I'm having the time of my life. But when the lead up is the problem that I have, and I just kind of want to be to myself. A lot of the times I'm just home with the kids or at home with my wife and the kids, because a lot of the times I don't know if I can handle hanging out with people. But like I said, I love hanging out with people that I know, that I've spent time with before. And a lot of the times I feel this specific way when it comes to being unable to spend time with people, is when I know some people that are going to be there, but then I don't know other people that are going to be there, and I feel like I'm just going to cause a ruckus because I'm awkward, and I feel like at times I just worry that people are gonna look at me a certain way, or they're gonna act like I'm not, a fun person to be around or whatever. It's kind of hard to explain, but like I said, I love doing things when I do it, but when I'm going up to actually do it, I'm having troubles getting there, and so in that mindset, I love to just be by myself and not worry about, what other people's opinions are of me. And a lot of, that does come, or it does, start from my middle school and high school days, and even elementary school days, where I feel like people didn't really like me and they didn't really want anything to do with me, and they just thought of me as the person there, closer to like high school. People, kind of liked me more or whatever. I was on the football team. I had friends outside of the football team, and I had good conversations with people, but all throughout that time, always running through my head, what am I going to mess up? What am I going to say that screws this up? And that's not necessarily being an introvert, because that's more of just being in your own mind. But like I said, when I feel those ways, I am just in my head. I'm always really far in my head, and I shouldn't be. I should be able to, create positive vibes by looking into the future and knowing that people are going to, enjoy my presence. Not everybody hates me. Not everybody wants to stay away from me. Not everybody, wants to just spend time with other people and not me. And, thinking about it that way too, it's almost as though I feel like I'm being selfish. Like, maybe it has nothing to do with me, or maybe my wife wants to do something with some friends with us, like all together, and I'm just always like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it. But then we end up doing it and having a wonderful time. But no matter how many times we have a wonderful time, it's like every time that a situation comes up where we could be spending time with somebody or whatever, I get like really nervous and anxious. I have a really big problem with anxiety, and a lot of it comes from, just the way that I feel before seeing somebody or having to talk to somebody or, having a conversation with somebody. I feel like through time I have been able to get a little bit better at it, because I do think that it's not necessarily something that needs to be 100% fixed, but I do think that it's something that you could work on to, just be a better you and be a better person. Because, yeah, there's nothing necessarily wrong with being an introvert, but if you want to not be that way, I feel like it's a good idea to, try to work yourself towards a goal. And whether the goal is, hanging out with one friend a week, or, just working something small, or playing video games with somebody, just not having to, hide behind a mask. And I feel like this is kind of a good topic, because I'm playing Spider-Man PS5 Remastered. So obviously there's a secret identity there, and you should just be able to be whoever you want to be without overthinking things. That's why one of my favorite bands, 21 Pilots, has resonated with me so much, because they always talk about how you should always be yourself and you shouldn't have to hide behind a mask. Like the ski mask back in the day when they were doing the Quiet as Violent tour, or with Vessel, the album. They would wear a mask for for car radio and all that kind of stuff, to show that you don't have to wear a mask. You could be yourself. And I feel that's a very positive energy that people should, respect and care about, because yeah, I am always super anxious about doing things with people, because I always feel like I'm going to screw something up, and it just makes it feel as though I should just stay home. If other people want to spend time with, my family or my friends or whatever, they should just go hang out and, keep me, away. And that's a really hard thing to say or manage, because like I said, every time we do things, or at least most times that we do things, everything goes really smoothly and there's not any issues. And it's just me in my own head being like, no, people aren't going to enjoy being around you. But I promise you, people are going to enjoy being around you. You have to get around certain people. You have to get around people that care about you and love you. And sometimes it's hard to think about that kind of stuff, because sometimes you'll go, well, does anybody actually love me? Does me being present actually make a difference? And I would like to say, yes, it does. No matter who you are, no matter who you're around, no matter who your friends are, whatever, I do feel like you matter to them, or they wouldn't have even been your friend to begin with. that if there's people out wanting to spend time with you, you should try to put in that extra effort to spend time with them as well. And even if there's somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, but you used to spend time with all the time, maybe you should call them up and be like, "Hey, do you want to go do something? Whatever." And yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking doing something different. It's nerve-wracking spending time with people. But I do feel like it's good to experience different things. And I have, an issue just doing new things in general because I'm always so anxious and I'm always so worried that something is going to happen. And I don't know exactly what I'm worried about happening, whether it's just something going wrong or I say something that I shouldn't or whatever. People that care about you will be around you no matter what. And you should try to push yourself to do a little bit of extra stuff if that's something that you feel passionate about doing. Like me, what I was saying is that I feel like I'm extroverted in the point where I love to do things, but I'm introverted in the fact that I feel like sometimes I just can't, or I have a hard time getting to that point. And I don't really have specific, examples of what you can do. But on the top of my head, just breathing and, getting in, not necessarily getting inside your own head and worrying about the future, but kind of maybe getting inside your head and just worry about you now. Is there something about yourself that you should change or you want to change to create a better mind for things in the future? Do you want to spend time with people, or are you okay with just being by yourself? Are you okay with, being not necessarily alone, but really, are you okay with just being alone? And I know there's not really an easy way or a right way to go about any of this. If you feel like you're okay with being an introvert, just continue being an introvert. If you're okay with being an extrovert, be okay being an extrovert. But for me personally, I think that it would be good for me to continue doing things because I love doing things. I love going to concerts. I love spending time with my wife's friends. I love being able to spend time with my own friends. I love to do things. But like I said, I only love doing things when I'm actually doing it. A lot of the times too, and I like to say that when I look back, I enjoy doing things. But sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, I could have done this differently, or I could have said this differently, or I could have been better at doing this. And I promise you that you being you is good enough. Yeah, like I said, I want to do things, but then as time gets closer, my wife, jokes about this all the time. Every time before a vacation, I get very anxious and I start feeling sick because I'm super excited, yeah, but I'm also really nervous about what could happen, and I'm going to be around more people and people that I don't usually hang out with, or people that I do hang out with frequently, but it's just a different experience every time. It's really hard to explain the exact feeling that I feel when talking about this, and at times it could be really, really hard. And so I do really understand the struggle. So if you're feeling this way, if you're feeling introverted, or you feel like you're an extrovert in an introvert's body, just do your best at believing that you can push yourself to be these ways. Yeah, it will take a lot of energy out of you, but you gotta stay in a positive mindset. Maybe stop for a little bit and just breathe and just not overthink, because I have a real big problem overthinking everything. I am an overthinker like it's nobody's business. I will continue overthinking and continue overthinking and continue overthinking, and that literally is something that you shouldn't do or shouldn't have to do, because when you overthink, you're always going to be worried that something's going to go wrong, or at least for me, that's what happens. And I would love to get to a place where I'm not just sitting overthinking. There's times in the middle of the night where I'm just up overthinking about something that's going to happen the next day and worried that something bad's going to happen or whatever. I'm always worried that that negativity is going to, sprout into even more negativity towards my life, and that's just not a way to live life. And it's hard to change your way or your mentality, but I definitely suggest, you know maybe even reading on some stuff on how to help your anxiety. Or maybe you could listen to some podcasts. There are countless self-help podcasts, and I do think that that's something very incredible and very positive. If you like to listen to something funny and that brightens your mood, just listen to something funny. If you want to listen to something that actually motivates you to do something, just listen to this podcast. But really, I do feel it's very important to be you, and if you want to do stuff, push yourself to do it. And really, I am kind of just talking to myself here. The reason I say that is that I'm trying to practice what I preach. I'm trying to be, the best person I could possibly be. And sometimes that is very difficult. It is very difficult to be that way. It's very difficult to push yourself and create the best you could possibly create. But I definitely suggest sitting and thinking about what you can do to better yourself, not necessarily thinking about the past and thinking about all the stuff that you've done wrong. Just think about, oh, maybe I could talk to this person a little bit differently, or maybe I could apologize for something that I did, or whatever. Maybe it would be good for you to not worry so much about the future. And this is kind of the almost kind of part of a topic that I did last week, and I definitely suggest checking that one out as well. These are very short motivational podcasts or video casts with some gameplay. It's nothing super crazy, and I'm not any kind of doctor or anything like that. That's probably proven through and through. But I do definitely suggest, if you feel like you're an introvert or an extroverted introvert, to continue striving for that greatness, continue striving for the best person you could possibly be, continue striving for, that little bit of extra help. Like, I have my wife that motivates me to push me along and make me a better me. Maybe that's all you need too. I really do appreciate you listening, and hope some of this actually did make sense, because I did kind of just ramble on a little bit. But thank you so much, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you do end up liking it. If not, please leave in the comments below why you didn't. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure to click that subscribe button if you like this video, like past videos, and want to see more in the future. And let me have some topics. If there's something specific that you would like for me to talk about, please leave those in the comments below as well. Thank you so much. Goodbye.